Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It's time for a Thunder Report coming to you live from, my house, and also Steve from his hotel room there in Denver as we recap last night's and early this morning's Thunder loss after it was a delayed start as we were waiting on the game prior on ESPN. But when we finally got to it, show that we were all witness to last night, where now the Thunder find themselves down 2-1. My name is Jeremie Poplin. Let's bring in Steve McGehee from News 9, who travels on the road with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Thunder reporter. And Steve, just one simple question here off the top for me is what's your level of concern right now? Because mine, I think, is probably still in line with where we were at when the series started, if I'm just being honest.
A little bit more concerned after losing that game, but it depends on how you want to look at it. Oklahoma City's win over the Nuggets was a blowout, just dominated them. And Denver's 2 wins now, you better thank Aaron Gordon. He makes the shot in game 1, makes the shot in game number 3 to send the game into overtime. So, if Aaron Gordon doesn't make those shots, I don't think it's too far-fetched to think the Thunder have a 3-0 lead in this series, but that is not the case. It's the first 1-4. You got to lean on that, but it'll be extremely difficult if Oklahoma City doesn't find a way to win game number 4.
I tweeted this last night at the end of the first half. That was just a weird first half to me. I don't know how you felt about it, with just everything that had kind of played out. It just had it had an odd feeling to it, and it wasn't one of those where I felt like, okay, this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. It was just a weird game in general.
It was hard to decide then who's going to win this game. It was like I was leaning towards the Thunder, and they got down, and then they got the lead back. It was just kind of back and forth. I'm like, all right, this is going to be one of those. This game could go either way, but it was unfortunate. The lid was on the basket in the final 3-2. I think they scored 5 points. They scored 5 points in the final 5 points in the final 4 minutes of regulation. 2 from Dub at the free throw line, and then Shea drove in, kicked it back out the Dub for a wide open 3 that gave him a 1-point lead. At that point, when Dub hit that 3, I felt confident. I'm like, they're going to pull one out here, even though it was not an easy win. And then Dub hit 2 free throws to put him up by 3. They get the stop, and then they just couldn't score at the other end. And here it is, Gordon's left open. Chet tried his best to get back there to try to defend it the best he could, and the ball went in. It's just, and I knew in overtime, I'm like, they got the ball to J-Dub in overtime and missed the shot. And it wasn't fun to watch the rest of the way. And the crowd just kept getting louder and louder, and they're waving the white towels like they would for an Avalanche hockey game. But credit Denver. They don't get rattled down the stretch. And we'll see if Oklahoma City can not get rattled if they play another close game. I got a feeling there's 1 or 2 close games left in this series.
It felt like, just watching it at home, there was a period in time where it didn't really ever seem like Denver was going to get over the hump. There in the third and in the fourth quarter, the game was tight the entire way through. But OKC would consistently have these 2, 3, 4, 5-point leads, and then Denver would get within 2, or they'd tie it up. And I just felt like, man, if they get a couple of stops here and hit a couple of big buckets and build, a 2 or 3 point lead, that's when I'm really going to start to concern myself with this. But that didn't happen until overtime. They really struggled. But, they were neck and neck the entire game until we got to overtime.
Yeah, again, I'll go back to, when Dub hit that 3, I thought, okay, this is good. It's just they couldn't get the shot up. Shea, I don't know, some people are saying he was playing hero ball, trying to make the shot to knock out the Nuggets. I think more times than not, I'm okay with him taking those shots, because more times than not, they go in. Maybe they go in Sunday in game number 4. This was a coin toss game that once again didn't go in Oklahoma City's favor. Both teams, I thought, defensively were outstanding. Both offenses struggled to get any type of momentum going. There were not many long runs at all for either side. So credit the defense for both. They did a good job on Joker. After game 1, we're thinking, do they have a way to defend Joker? And they do. And he didn't make a 3 last night. Michael Porter Jr. knocked down 5.
Yeah.
Got his shoulder injury. I'm like, well, I think he's pretty fine. Knocking down 5 threes. I think it was 5 out of 6. And then Gordon is the hero for the second time in this series. So it's a game that could have gone either way. I thought Oklahoma City missed 2 or 3 free throws that they need to make. Shea missed 2 in a row in the first half, but Jamal Murray also missed two in a row. But I thought, you start looking at where they could have, won this game. And I think one of the negatives for the Thunder is they just, they missed, I'm trying to find the stats here. They missed too many free throws. I think they finished 70% from the free throw line. And in close games in the playoff, that's not a good recipe for victory.
One of the elements of this game that made it weird was both MVP candidates never really had any type of rhythm whatsoever. That's about as bad as I've seen Jokic shoot the basketball, missed all 10 of his threes. I thought the one at the end of regulation, of course, that was going to be the one that he made, and had that thought pop up into my head. And then SGA played okay at times. It's not the customary SGA game that we're used to. It was a chilly fourth quarter for him, and just didn't really close down the stretch the way that sometimes we expect an MVP candidate to finish there in the fourth quarter. It was just a rough night for both of those individuals.
Yeah, Shea only had 5 points in the first quarter, but yet Oklahoma City had that 5-point lead going into the second quarter. But I found the free throws. Thunder, I gave them too much credit. They were 68% from the line at the free throw line. And you missed 7 free throws, missed 5 instead of 7. There's your ball game. There's your difference. Yep. And we don't go to overtime. So it's a tough pill to swallow. It's bitter. They didn't shoot the ball well. That's where you kind of have to lean your hat on for the Thunder. They did not shoot the ball well, 25% from 3. Denver shot better from the 3-point line. And so, again, if you're a Thunder fan, they've lost 2 games on last-second shots or near last-second shots. That's been the difference so far in the series.
Are we concerned at all with the Thunder level of shooting? 6th best team in the league as far as shooting the 3 ball during the season. That hasn't necessarily been the case so far here in the playoffs. They've only hit their average twice so far. And then last night, obviously 9 of 35 from 3. Is that something that is starting to grow a little bit more of a concern?
I don't think it's a concern yet. If they don't shoot well in game number 4, that could be a problem. But then game 5's back in Oklahoma City. Normally the shots go in on your home court. It's just unfortunate that in game 1 and game 3, the final 3-4 minutes of the game, they can't close it. They can't close the door on the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets, they keep leaving the door open for Denver. And it's an unfortunate situation, but I'm not giving up hope on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Alex Caruso said, "Hey, this is a playoff series. It's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to win all 16 games. There have been teams that have been down 2-1 in a series that have gone on to win the NBA title. It's not saying the Thunder can do it, but this series is just at the halfway point. But it can be extremely difficult. And I'm not breaking any news here if they don't take care of business in game number 4.
Well, I even had a Thunder fan tweet at me and basically say, "Hey, are you still picking them, and are we done?" And I kind of explained to him, like, I still don't view this any differently really than I did when the series started. I knew this was going to be a tough series for them, and this is kind of playing into what we talked about with the process of they're still a very young team that just haven't gone through a certain number of wars, and teams that are built for long-term success the way that OKC is, sometimes there is a process and they got to go through a couple of these. But if you thought Denver was just going to roll over and give that to them, you're crazy and haven't been paying attention to anything that makes up the Denver Nuggets. I expected them to bounce back and give them a great game in game 3.
And then what comes up in game 4 is much sooner now. It's like a day and a half rest with an afternoon game. And I think that favors Oklahoma City compared to Denver. Denver's been playing every other day now for, 2 weeks?
Yes.
So, maybe it's going to catch up to them eventually. But, that could favor the Thunder in tomorrow's game. But if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I'm going full steam ahead, doing
There's
everything
no doubt
to win game 4. So then you have 3 chances to win 1 game. Do everything you can, because if this series goes back to Oklahoma City tied to 2, there's probably going to be a little bit of doubt in the Denver Nuggets. And, again, I think Oklahoma City, they didn't rely too much on their bench in the second half. Mark said, I liked what we had going out there. That's why I didn't make many substitutions. They had the lead, lost the lead, got the lead back. So there was no reason to be panicking like, okay, let's try somebody else. Maybe he leans on the bench more in the second half in game number 4. We'll see about that. But it's just, I'll say it again. It just comes down to one guy making 2 shots at the right time. That's the difference in this series.
Thought there were a few items, especially in the first half. I liked what they were doing with Jokic again. I know that he missed shots, but I still think that a lot of that was just effort and how Oklahoma City has decided to try to pack things in and not make things easy on him at all. I thought Chet had a brilliant first half. I thought Hartenstein had a good first half as well. Now, that gets overshadowed a bit by Hartenstein missing those short attempts with that push shot there late in that game, and I know that he wants to have those back, but there were still, I think, a lot of positives even though they lost that game. And then J-Dub, I mean, how can you say anything negative about the type of game that he had other than maybe not getting an opportunity or shooting the ball more to try to close that one out? But other than that, I thought these are elements that it takes to win these games.
That's what you want from Dub. Dub looked like he lived up to the moment. He made some key shots. He was like one-on-one. I'm going to beat my man. He scored. He went past Gordon, scored over Jokic, and he was incredible. It's just, some people say maybe he should have got the ball more in crunch time. But, and Dub just says, hey, when you got one of the best players out there, it's okay. Let him shoot the shots more times than not. He's going to make it. It just didn't work out this way. But, Shea was the one who drove inside and kicked it back out the Dub to give them that 1-point lead with under 2 minutes to go. So Shea wasn't exactly, people calling him a ball hog late. No, he wasn't. It's just he's won games before for the Thunder on that floor in that situation. It just didn't work last night.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel, but Mark after the game last night was talking about how the game slows down a little bit, especially here in the fourth quarter of playoff games. And it was, I thought, a grind and a challenge for both teams in the last 6 minutes of that game. But to me, that kind of play, I know that Denver loves to use in fast break points and get out in transition. But in a half-court game with a number of minutes that they're playing, Steve, and basically playing with a 5 and maybe, a 6-man and occasionally a 7th coming in, to me, that kind of plays a little bit more into their favor when those games do turn into a little bit more of a slog there towards the end.
Yeah, it's amazing. They pretty much won last night with 7 guys.
Yeah.
7 guys. Russ played 22 minutes, Peyton Watson 17. Everybody else is going 46, 42, 44, 48, 43. Eventually, that's got to catch up to you, or does it? Maybe these guys are well-conditioned. They know what it takes to move on to the next round, but it's just amazing what they can do with such a short bench.
Yeah.
How good their starting 5 is. And Christian Brown didn't have a great game. He's probably expecting to be better in game number 4, but it's just amazing what they're able to do with that starting 5. All 5.
I thought Brown
have won a title.
I thought Brown, though, did a decent job defensively. I thought he didn't provide a lot. He was decent, but I looked this up because I'm amazed at just the numbers of minutes that they're playing. They were 12. They had the best record in back-to-backs this year. They were 12-4 were the Nuggets in back-to-back games. I'm like, that's still pretty impressive considering how many injury problems they've dealt with the entire year.
One of those wins was in Oklahoma City.
Yes, it was.
Game. So, but it's what's interesting also is they're playing with an interim head coach. They made a change near the end of the regular season, and they're going up. Maybe, obviously, they made the right move. I like Adelman. He's going to get that job. He has what he says in pre and post game. It's very genuine. It's not coach speak at all. So I really like him. I think they got somebody good in Adelman.
What was your take and kind of feel for the mood after last night? I mean, clearly they don't want to lose, but
Ted didn't look happy in post game. I think he answered one question.
That's right, he did.
Yeah,
yes,
he just looked like he did not want to be there in that situation. He had the frustrated look, but that's why guys like Caruso and Hartenstein and Shea as well that can, like, hey, it's just one game, shake it off, because Chet's playing great. Didn't shoot great, but good defense. There's a few shots that he'd love to have back. It's just comes down to, it's easier said than done, just executing with the game on the line, somehow finding a way to put that ball in the basket, because one bucket or one more free throw and there is no overtime. It's that close to, leading or being tied at 2 apiece. But Game 4 will be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And, as I said, if I'm Denver, I'm going full steam ahead to try to get a 3-1 advantage going back to Oklahoma.
Any other final thoughts as we get set for that Game 4 coming up? I mean, they played physical to start, which they did in Game 2.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes it feels like, we're, as my grandfather would say, we're going from Ned in the first reader here. We're being very, very elementary on this, but it comes down to execution, and just flat out Denver executed better in crunch time last night when it mattered the most. And if OKC, to me, can flip that script and just finish this game with a few items here and there, I think they're going to be okay, and this series could be tied up by the time they come back to OKC.
You want Shea to play like an MVP. He's going to shoot better. I'm a firm believer in that. He's going to shoot better. I don't know if we'll see if Dub can duplicate what he did in game number 3. Hardenstein, I think, will do better. Hardenstein and Chet and Shea, great rebounding in game 3. They were both in double digits.
And offensive rebounding, they were fantastic.
They're good. They're good on that. But Gordon, 2 shots. Michael Porter Jr. Stepped up big time, even though that shoulder's injured. He should play injured more often, maybe. He wasn't shooting very well until last night. So, if the game is on the line, wherever Aaron Gordon is, make sure someone is there to meet him with the basketball.
No doubt. Steve, enjoy your time there in the Mile High City, if I can learn how to speak. And next time that we speak, you'll be back here in Red Dirt Country in Oklahoma as we recap what hopefully is a Thunder win, and as we look forward to another game there at the Paycom Center between the Thunder and the Nuggets. Man, great stuff, and get some rest, man. I know it's been a long season so far.
It was a long night last night.
No doubt. And thank you for everyone that was tuning in and watching our recap of last night's game, and also previewing game number 4 coming up on a Sunday. Remember, go to the website, news9.com. Check out all of our Thunder-related content through the playoffs, not only from the sports side of things, but also from the regular news department as well. And hit that like and subscribe button here on YouTube, and we'll see you next time here for another Thunder Report.